Lorcana lovers and Disney dreamers. Welcome back to Beyond the Ink. I'm Jen, also known as Lorcana Mama, and today's episode is going to be a magical whirlwind. So we're getting to pull back the curtain with an actual Lorcana card artist, Kendall Hale. And co-hosting with me is the queen of Disney deals herself, Kiersti Torok. She's also a fellow Ignite's teammate, so I'm sure you might have seen her on the stream, and a Disney adult extraordinaire, and also my best friend. So I'm super excited to have you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. And I'm really excited to get to talk to Kendall. Kendall, your art has been some of my favorite cards that have come out in any of the sets. One of my son's favorite. He won a championship with one of your card art. So we are really excited to get to talk to you and kind of get to see who brings the magic to life.
Yeah, so, we're going to talk art, we're going to talk creativity, Disney love, and even talk about a little bit of a trick we've been testing out to bring in some new Illumineers to Lorcana, giving out Lorcana cards to kids in the park to use for things like character autographs. So we do, I hear, have a video of me chasing Peter Pan to get his autograph too that I think that might have gotten saved somewhere. But you know what? You're never too old for Disney magic, guys. So let's dive in. Alrighty, so I guess let's start your whole journey, Kendall. When did you first fall in love with art? Was Disney part of that?
Yeah, Disney was a huge part of it. My parents spoon fed us Disney movies constantly as a kid, and that was my window into art. Was just seeing cartoons and seeing animation and getting a love for drawing, because you can't, when you're a kid, you can't draw real life, but you can draw cartoons. And that was the gap that just stood between me and my imagination.
That's awesome. Remind me to thank your parents for introducing you to Disney. That's amazing.
As they should have. I feel like it's like snaps for the parents. Take a memo, guys. So tell us a little more. What's your background as an artist? Self-taught, art school, combo of that?
Yeah, so I, as a kid, what really got me going was I just like drawing monsters. I like drawing big creatures with sharp teeth, and I was all about dinosaurs. And grew up right in the early '90s when dinosaurs were the biggest thing. I could tell you that I used to watch Fantasia, and pause the screen and put a piece of paper on the screen and try to trace the dinosaurs from Fantasia. And it was so frustrating because the screen would curve, and so your drawing would come back and all the dinosaurs would be really fat. But that kind of got me down that path. So drawing became a thing that I started doing all the time when I would get bored. So I'd get bored in church, I would draw. I'd get bored in school, so I would draw. And it was never a serious career path until I started getting to the end of high school, and just kind of thinking about all the different kind of creative stuff that I was interested in. And someone explained it to me that, if you go down these other paths, you're not going to have as much control as you would if you draw. You're not going to have as much freedom if you draw. And you're going to be tied down to things like money and networking and your relationships if you want to get into movies or acting or anything like that. But drawing, you can do anything you want by yourself and no one can tell you no. And so I decided to stick with drawing, and it worked out a lot for me because I didn't have any money, and I grew up a lot in Wisconsin, so I didn't have any networking to do much else. And the school I went to just had a really phenomenal program. A lot of people that grew up with Disney movies, so we all kind of shared that love. And that got me real art ready for my career.
That's awesome. I absolutely love the tidbit of putting paper up to your, there weren't flat screens back in the day, y'all. It was very much the round screen. So that's really cool. So I guess then my question would be leading off. So you didn't have a lot of networking connections and stuff like that. So how then did you get connected with Ravensburger and build that connection, because you didn't have a lot of network connections before?
Yeah. So I went to school in BYU, which is in Provo, Utah. It's about an hour south of Salt Lake. And the Utah art scene is really weird because you have a very strong like religious presence and religious art, and there's so many like museums and shows that are all just in that venue, and then anyone else that doesn't want to do that, they all just kind of like hang out and talk about how they wish that there were more entertainment things going on in Utah, and we all just kind of hung out and drew together. So I got to know people that all kind of made their way into the Lorcana scene. So several of the art directors, a bunch of the other card artists, we went to school together, or we did like draw sketch hangouts together. And so by mingling with these kind of guys, I kind of became associated with them. And then when they were working on the first set, I was unemployed at the time. So I just was posting stuff on Instagram, my own personal art, and I did some Disney fan art. And one of the art directors of Lorcana saw my fan art and was like, "Oh, yeah, this is good enough to work for the card game," and just messaged me cold on Instagram and was like, "Hey, do you want to work on this card game?" But he didn't say what it was. He just said, "I'm working on a card game. Do you want to work on it?" And I was
So
super skeptical.
check your DMs.
Yes, check your DMs always. And I get weird like asks from all these people all the time, like, "Oh, would you draw this weird thing for me? Would draw a picture of my mom or my dog or whatever?" And then they don't want to pay you. So like, I'm always like polite, but you never know who's like authentic and who's doesn't realize that art takes time and money. So I told him, I was like, "Yeah, send me an email and we'll talk." And then the email came in and was like, "Oh, this is legit. Yeah, let's go. I'm all in."
Maybe do a little Google LinkedIn search to make sure they're a real person.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, so what was your reaction when you learned that you'd be creating official Disney Lorcana cards?
It was a pretty unreal moment. So I'm always kind of surprised, like in the realm of like entertainment and art, especially like very brand recognized commercial art, how casual some of the contact can be. Because in the business world, everyone's like, "Oh, I got to wear a suit and I got to keep up my appearances." But like in the art world, people will go to work in like a Hawaiian shirt and shorts kind of stuff. And both with like this Lorcana approach and then a couple other like projects that I've done, it was just like, "Oh, here you go. Here's an email to offer you up something that's like an answer to your dreams." Just like very cavalier about it. But I like freaked out and I told my wife, I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're not gonna believe like this is a like a legit email asking me to work on like Disney property." And we collected sports cards before Lorcana came out. So I kind of was a big fan of cards and card collecting already. And the fact that Disney was making a card game and I was getting to work on it like from the ground floor, it was like overwhelming. Like I couldn't tell you like how like emotional I got. It was just unbelievable.
Oh, I can imagine.
Magical, right? That's crazy.
I mean, and I have a question. And so I know for Kiersti and I, we kind of walked into our local game store. I think my husband and she had seen ads on Facebook going around for this new Disney Lorcana game. And we had all tagged each other in it. You're just like, I mean, I never played Pokemon. This is my first TCG. Kiersti's dabbled in Pokemon, I think, previously, but we just kind of went in thinking like, well, this will be cool. We'll collect it. And they had like a little table where you could sit and they would teach you how to play. And that's where it started for us. And I don't think we've ever left or missed a Wednesday night, short of probably being gone at Disney or for some family holiday, but
snow days.
Yeah. I mean, but I am still in shock. I can't believe it's been 2 years. I'm shocked with how far it took off. Like, were you expecting this to blow up the way that it did?
Yes and no. I've seen the deep and heavy side of collecting to some extent already before Lorcana came out. So I knew it was going to be a thing, but when they had that whole episode at Gen Con where people were like climbing over each other to get it. Like we were looking at like news articles like, oh my gosh, I can't, like, am I gonna get any of it? Are they gonna sell out before like it even like gets to me? So we started calling up like our stores and everything, like, can you hold some product for me? I worked on the game, please, pretty please. And luckily we found a store nearby. They're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, don't worry, we got you.
That's awesome. I feel like, although I would hate to go up against those people at a rope drop.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, man.
That was a
stuff.
crazy. It was scary. I hope that never happens ever again. I'm glad the game performed very well.
Yeah. I mean, so do you remember what the first character was that you were asked to draw, and what was that moment like?
Absolutely, yeah. They asked me to do Archimedes, and I mean, it was a really great way to like get my feet wet. Archimedes is a pretty like small, compact, simple character, and so, but they were still kind of like figuring out the whole art style of what they wanted to do, and they didn't have a lot to show me in terms of like, look what all these other artists are doing and get a feel for this is the language of the art of the game. So it was a lot of like touch and go, like, oh, will they like it if I do this? Well, I'm just going to give them like magic ethereal wings, like hopefully that's cool, and kind of put like my own spin on it. And luckily with that card, like it just went all pretty smooth, and they liked what I did. Only like minor changes on that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. The first card, it was great.
My son, I just showed this. I don't know if you saw this, because you signed some for me, and that's actually what's in my son's deck box. And
oh, no way.
Yes, like that's what he has displayed on the very front. And we actually, I don't think it's in here, but this behind me is where we have, like, he and I will play Lorcana in my office and stream. But Archimedes is what got Harrison into Sword in the Stone, which he had never watched. I mean, he's a 12-year-old kid now. I mean, he started at 10. Her son started at 8. And so there's a lot of throwback movies that I'm sure we've watched with our kids, but they never got in. But he will watch that on repeat. And it was Archimedes, and then now all the Mims and Merlins that really got him back into that. So that's super cool. So yeah, you literally go to League every week with my kiddo. He has it on Friday.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
Sure. It's his pride and joy. But yeah, I mean, so I know I'm dying to know, I know that our listeners are dying to know, what is it actually like to draw for Disney? I mean, I would be totally freaked out. Like, what if you spill your coffee on it? I mean, I don't even know. Like, what does this look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like exhilarating, but also daunting at the same time. For me, I think a lot of the pressure is off because I'm so familiar with the brand already, in terms of like, I've watched every Disney movie. I grew up watching the cartoon shows on Disney Afternoon. There's very few characters that I'm like, oh, who's that? I don't know who that is. Like I sound like a big like nerd, but
you were in good company, my
not
friend.
to us. No, you're in good company. No.
Yeah. So I've never gotten like an assignment where like, oh my gosh, I don't even know who this is. Like I got to go back and watch the movie. Like I'm always like, oh yeah, them. I know exactly like their swagger and their personality and everything.
Their flavor. I love it.
Yeah. So I know some artists have said like it's a challenge to do right by the fans, but I feel like, well, I'm a fan, so I just want to make sure I do right by me, and not like not in a pretentious way, but like, I want to make sure that I'm giving the credit to the character that it deserves from the story it tells, and from the animators that created the character, and how I think that they would want it to be. And I've never really had much doubt in that. It's always been kind of like, yeah, this character will be fun, or like, oh, this isn't my favorite character, but I'm sure I could find like a fun way to put it. The challenging part is how much Disney really cares about their brand and trying to meet their expectations of it. Because I think meeting fans' expectations has not been an issue for me, but Disney has sent me back notes where it's like, you're really close with drawing this character, but you need to tweak just like little things like here and here. Like,
can you share any of the feedback? Is there anything like
I mean, one example, I won't go into like too much detail, but like one example was like I got a note back, I think, about Mickey's pupils were
Sure.
like they like
Yeah.
gave me a percentage, like Mickey's pupils need to be like this much percentage bigger. I was like, oh my gosh, like
Well, I mean, and you
I
think about it,
don't want to
I
offend
mean,
Mickey.
well,
Right, yeah.
for sure.
Not
I
Mickey.
mean, and I
Yeah.
think Kiersti and I, from multiple levels of like, we're hardcore Disney adults. If you ever want to have like a Disney trivia night, like if you're not on our team, just don't play. Like it might as well just be over. I mean, our kids are, I mean, this is what we do. Like we're in line waiting for something. It's, although Lorcana has made this really unfair because we'll start describe like it's whose character. And now they have, you know, thousands of cards of characters they immediately are recalling with things. But
Yeah.
I've heard that on so many different levels, even down to like expressions on characters' face, because they really know that. And Kier and I actually got to go listen to it was the head chef, the head patisserie chef at Disney, and how he was talking about, I still have chills thinking about it. He was describing how he saw Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse when he was making like chocolate out of that. And it was just like that experience just reminds me so much. I'll have to link that in the comments if you saw that video, Kier, because it was just that experience was to hear them describe the characters. Like I fell in love with Donald Duck. I've never been a huge Donald Duck fan. He's just kind of been like the sidekick. Hearing this artist, because he is over all of their desserts, I think is what he was, right? Here, I forget. I remember he was so just engaging. I fell in love with Donald Duck after listening to him describe Donald Duck and his personality, and Mickey Mouse and his personality. So that's super cool. That's so interesting. And of course Disney has a ratio for Mickey's pupils. I mean, it's Disney, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, it's something about like the Sensational Six. They're like no, we're very protective of these characters, and we need to make sure that they're on the spot with them.
Well, I'm going a little off script here, and maybe you can't say anything. We get it. But so I'm interested because with Disney Lorcana, there's several different types of characters. So you have Dreamborn, you have Floodborn, and you have Storyborn. Kira, you might have to help me with the explanations, because Storyborn is like what we know and love and we've interacted with, maybe, you know, in a movie or in an animated series. You have Floodborn, which kind of, it's like the Tinkerbell giant fairy. Like Tink is obviously not a giant fairy. I don't know the other way to explain Floodborn.
Yeah, I think it's just they take on a different element than what they are traditionally known for. So
Sure.
Then you have like Dreamborn, which is like totally different dreamt up character. So you just have like Storyborn's classic, and then Floodborn and Dreamborn, you kind of like change a little bit of their storyline.
I feel like, Kendall, do you have a better definition for these, since you're actually like being given these?
I wish I did. That's pretty good. I think Floodborn and Dreamborn, the difference is Dreamborn is like Hades on Mount Olympus, where Hades is like takes Zeus's place. It's just opposite of his character. And Floodborn would be like embellishing Hades, where like his blue hair is like super tall and he's got like spikes on his shoulder and he looks super menacingly evil, like more so than normal. I think that's the difference.
Side note, Hades is my favorite villain, for sure.
It's a good pick.
But so with that though, that kind of goes against Disney character brands. I'm curious how you're like, is that really difficult when you're trying to design this card and this character, being given characteristics that don't really apply to that character's like nature that we've seen before?
Yeah, and I don't really know how to answer that question, because I don't think I've done any Dreamborn where they're
So here is a bucket list
totally
item.
opposite. Yeah.
If anyone on Ravensburger is listening, Kendall needs to do something crazy next. Something wild.
Yeah. I've done Floodborn, I think, but I don't think I've done any Dreamborn.
I'm interested.
Floodborn even
is fun.
I'm sorry. Floodborn are challenging, but like in a different way.
I feel like it would be so fun. Like I have a question for this, but every time I think about these, I go back to Gaston, Intelligent Powerhouse. I don't know if you've seen that card. because Gaston is not. And I just love that card so much. Like, oh my gosh, like, if I ever need a laugh, I probably should put that in my desk, like, just to laugh at that card, because it makes it so fun, and it makes these characters that, like, like, was never really a fan of Gaston, and now I am, and it's honestly probably because of that silly Lorcana card, because it's like, man. I mean, so kind of talking more and getting a little bit more behind, like, the magic behind the canvas. So this will, like, asking more questions a little bit about your creative process, because this is interesting. I'm curious, how much freedom do you get when illustrating a character for Lorcana?
It's all over the place sometimes. And some of that depends with, how high profile the character is as well. Some of the characters, they're like, I've done some cards that haven't come out yet, but it's characters that they are not very particular about, and I got so much freedom and so much free reign, and
I
it
can't
really
wait.
felt good to just flex and, like,
Yeah.
write my own destiny with it. But then a lot of other characters are like, no, this is a prized, very valuable character, and we need them in this kind of position, and you can't have them doing this or this, because it's not only is it not on brand for the character, but Disney also, like, things like having a hero. I didn't have a card like this, but Disney will not have a hero point a weapon at the viewer, because they don't want anyone to ever feel threatened by a hero character. And it makes total sense, but, like, you got to keep all that kind of stuff in mind.
I just love Disney. This is so fun. I feel like I need more of these tidbits. It's like the finger pointing. Like, they're so mindful of cultural things and all of those. I mean, that's what I love about Disney, is that there's never just one layer or 100 layers. There's so many layers deep that they go on this, which just, gosh, it makes me love Disney so much more.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep, I feel like I have some questions, but I know you do too, Kier. Do you have anything you want to ask around this?
Yeah, no. So I just kind of want to know what it looks like. So kind of like walk us through. Disney presents you, or Ravensburger presents you with, hey, we need you to draw this character. So, like, what does that process kind of look like from, like, beginning information to, like, you turn in the card and it's finalized?
Yeah. So first of all, we never really get to pick. But we're always kind of given an assignment, and the assignments usually have to do with what they think our strengths are. And for a long time, I was like the cutesy animal guy, even though I wouldn't think that was my strength. But they kept giving me, I have like 2 Archimedes cards, and I have Bruni, all kind of that line up with that, like, cutesy round animals. And I told them, I was like, you can stop, I can do other things. I would like to do some other things. And then they sent me some other things. But so the assignment comes in, or first they ask, will you do this? Do you want it? And you say yes or no. And then the assignment comes in, and the assignment will have the character, and kind of, if it lines up with the story that they're telling in the set, it'll have some information about that. But usually they don't go into too much detail, because there's so many things in motion that
Sure.
anything you're working on could change due to the set of the needs of the set. They'll usually have a suggestion of a background, or like an environment that they want the character in, and they will tell you to some degree what the card is going to do, because they want you to incorporate that if you can. So I did that Archimedes card where he's flying around the fireworks, and they told me he's going to have a ability called evasive. So draw him evading the fireworks.
That's cool.
Or like with the Simba card that I did, he's a protector, and he has a bodyguard thing. And I didn't know what that meant at the time. They were just like, look, he's going to have an ability where he protects other character cards. So draw him like protective. And then once you get all that information in your brief, you go through a couple rounds of revisions where you come up with like rough ideas, and then they pick one that they like, and then you go from there into like more detail, more color. And once you get to a certain point, they show it to Disney, and Disney says, we approve, this is on the right track, or no, we don't like this, or we're mostly good, but you need to fix like a few things. And then once that's where everything like bottlenecks kind of, and like everyone has to wait until Disney gives them the green light. but once you hit that, they tell you, okay, finish the card and then send it in and you're good to go.
I'm gonna have to pop some of these up on the background. So I'm interested. I know you mentioned they kind of give you a little bit of the flavor, and obviously you've seen Lorcana cards at this point. Do you know what the name is going to be, or they name it afterwards? So like, for example, we have like Archimedes, highly educated owl. Did they give you that name before drawing it, or did they name it after you drew it?
I don't totally know if that's the case for every card. Sometimes they'll have like an extra name on the card, and it kind of informs you on how they want you to approach the character and their expression on the card. But yeah, sometimes it's in there.
And I'm going to be skirting on some things that I doubt you can fully answer, and you might not know, just because I've listened to a few of Ravensburger streams, because they're dropping these little things like Arcasia's Island. There was this owl that there's always like multiple storylines kind of coming out. So like it's for us to kind of learn. But when we've seen the Reign of Jafar cards, which are dropping, I think it's in the next week, basically. In the background of those cards, a lot of them have like the snake. Do you know that when you're drawing the character, or does that come after?
A lot of that information comes after. So like they didn't have anything they wanted me to do on Arcasia's Island, and so I really didn't know anything about that set when it came out. And then there are things in set 6 that lead up to it that I didn't know were there until after the fact. And I'm sure they'll have things in set 8 that kind of reflect on it or like come from it, and so I won't really know to catch those.
Guess my question is, when you're looking at, like, when you're drawing a card per se, you're doing 100% of the character and the background?
So far for me, most of the time, yeah. Okay. There are a couple other cards that I collaborated with some other artists on, but they try to have everyone do the character and the background.
This is me just being curious of like, how much would you be gleaning of the secrets? Because they always have these little, which Disney's known for Easter eggs. Speaking of Easter eggs, this is where shiny butterflies. Have you ever put a hidden Mickey in one of your cards?
Hidden Mickey? I think I tried to do a couple hidden Mickeys. This is one of the hard things, because I'll try to do things like that earlier on, and then after revisions they'll ask me to make changes, and the hidden Mickey kind of like gets lost, or I have to take it out for a change for something else. I think there's a card that I've done that hasn't come out yet that has a hidden Mickey in it, but the other ones I've done have not made it.
I'll be looking.
There's one coming up. We are very excited for it. Awesome. That's awesome.
So do you have a favorite card that you've worked on so far?
Yeah, I tell everyone that it's Hans 13th in line.
Yes,
he's a good one.
That was such a good
I think
card.
he's the only. Thanks. Yeah, that was one of the ones where I thought it was gonna be more. I thought they were going to be a lot more like picky about how I did it, but they really let me choose the moment where he's like going to kill Elsa, and he's just got like the sword, and he's just ready to go. And I made him look a little crazier, and they told me to dial that back a little bit. But I love his pose, and I love the action, and I think I nailed the face, and just super happy with it.
He's a good card. Yeah, I'm interested. I mean, so when you're doing them, I would assume the answer is no. When you're drawing, you don't know if it's going to be like a common or uncommon or legendary when you get them?
The first 2 sets, I had no idea what that meant, because the cards hadn't come out yet. I didn't even know like what the rarities and stuff were until the game finally came out. But after that point, I think about set 5 or 6, I started seeing like, oh yeah, they list the rarity in the brief, and I'm like, oh okay, this will be like that. So
that's interesting. Yeah, I'm curious if they were picking, because like your enchanted art from set 1, did you know that you were having to do 2 versions of that, or did that come after the initial drawing?
No, that I don't totally remember. But when they said, do you want to do an enchanted card, I just thought that was like a type, like action or item, or this isn't enchanted. So I had no idea what that meant. and they're like, oh yeah, just do full art instead of like a little rectangle. Okay, whatever. But I think I had done the enchanted before I did the normal. And what happened with the normal one was they had me collaborate with Alex Accorsi on that one. He couldn't finish the Mickey, so they had me just come in and draw the Mickey. So he did the background on it, and I just drew the Mickey since I'd just done it on the enchanted one.
That's so fun. I mean, and speaking of enchanted cards and other ones, for those of you listening, Kendall also signs cards and does custom Lorcana art. I know we have some pictures and videos, but yeah, look, check it out, Kiersti.
Hey.
Kiersti got this stitch. If you're listening and not watching, Kiersti got a custom stitch drawn onto the Simba card that Kendall did, and it is her.
That was for my son. That was for my kid. He loves it.
Yeah, and if you're listening, you can also check this out on YouTube and see that. And I'll also put the links to see these, and also how you can get Kendall to draw some of your own as well, how you can purchase them from him, because it was really reasonable. It was a really cool thing. I had mine signed. I had a few cards signed by Kendall. One for my son, and then I might have one that I'm giving away to you guys. But it's like my kid's pride and joy. Like, he was so excited. I brought it home from seeing you in Atlanta, and Harrison was just like, what? Oh my gosh, it was crazy. It was so fun. I'm trying to think where. And let me write this down, because this is where I'm mumbling, because I'm like, what are we going to do? What are we going to say next? So speaking of autographs and custom art, are there any events coming up where fans can meet you in person and maybe get a signed card or some of that custom art?
Yeah, so there's nothing that I have that's set in stone. I'm going to be going to Boston in late June for a family vacation, and we're hoping to kind of help pay for that trip with a couple signings in some local stores in Boston, but we haven't figured anything out yet. Cool. And then I might be in Philadelphia in September, but that's still, I don't know if that's for sure. And at the very least, I think I'll be in Miami in January. So that's all I got for right now.
Where can we find, like, when you update, like, where you're going to be? Is there like your Instagram or like your website where people can find out?
Yeah, absolutely. Instagram is the best way to follow anything I do Lorcana related. I'll post all my new cards there. Anytime I'm going to do a signing, whether it's local here or whether it's in another state, I always make a post there so that people can see and hopefully get it with enough time ahead of schedule to make it. But yeah, I always post on Instagram.
Awesome.
And leave you a link to post on the video for it.
Yeah, we'll drop it in the show notes. We'll drop it everywhere and share it on socials too. So no, that's awesome. So speaking of custom cards, what's more magical than having the mouse himself sign your Lorcana card? So talking about that, Kiersti and I have made a habit to my husband's, I'm sure, joy of how much Lorcana Kiersti and I bring into the parks, especially when we go together. I'm like, I see a kid, I'm like, ooh, what do they like? But Kiersti and I use them for autograph cards, not just for giveaways, but for herself as well. And I'll show a video of, like, I'll have a video that I'll post in here as well of kids getting their autographs. It's my kid's favorite thing, but we do our little card guard. I don't know if you have yours with you, Kiersti, but then every time we go to the parks, like, we have, oh, look, and I think that might be one of yours, son, but
nice.
by Minnie Mouse herself.
Yes.
Yeah, so we just we stock our little card guard up of all the characters. We have, everybody from Donald. I will curate a list of the characters in the park, because that's super helpful to know which cards to pack. So that is a to-do for me. Sometimes Kiersti and I, we just came back from a family vacation together with all of our kids, and we had to sadly, go buy more Lorcana at Disney Springs because we had forgotten some of the characters that were out and about in the parks. Because, it's really rare to see Tiana, and our kids were super stoked to see her at, what was it, the Park Place? Is that where it was?
Yep. Park Fair. Yep.
Park Fair. Yep. So yeah, I don't know. That's one of my favorite things. So We've literally handed a card to a family in line and it's like, here, get Moana to say, her daughter was passing out Moana cards to little girls in line, and like they cherish that. I mean, you can have an autograph book, which is super cool, but like, what's better than having like the Wayfinder yourself, like in foil signed?
Yeah, for sure.
No, I love it. I love that part of it. I love that the kids are involved in it. And then I have one question that kind of pertains to this. So like you talked about how your journey into art started a lot with like Disney and when you were younger being interested in like cartoons and drawing cartoons. And so how does it feel now to be a part of a card game that is not only having impact on like adults, but like kids getting involved in the game and the art and spurring on more love for Disney and the cartoon elements of that? So like, can you kind of talk us through like, is this kind of a full circle moment? Does it feel like as magical as I'm imagining it to feel? Cause like my son's 8 or my son's 9 and he's looking at some of these art pieces and like your art's like his favorite memory. That was his birthday gift, right? Like that's such a cool full circle moment. So like kind of talk me through, how does that feel?
Yeah. So first I can tell you like, it's a big deal for my kids, for me and my kids. So anytime I have a local signing, my wife will try to come with my kids, and they're 2 years old and they're 4 years old, and we'll make sure that they have like their own Lorcana binders with their own cards, and they'll bring my cards for me to sign at these signings. And it is unreal to have them familiar with the characters, a lot of which they haven't seen the movies yet but they know that I drew them. And it'd be like when I was working on the Daisy card, I would have my son come in and be like, oh, you're drawing Daisy. That's your job. You draw Daisy Duck. And that's way cool. And then you have the kids that aren't mine, the kids that do come to these events. And it's so gratifying getting to meet younger kids that like appreciate the art. I had these 2 girls come into a signing that I did in Florida, and they could care less about winning matches or anything in the game. They just like little 8-year-old girl was like, look at my binder. I have this one time I got a legendary card, and she just showed me like she just like had all princesses. And I was like, oh my gosh, I will sign whatever you want. I'll hook you up, because I love when like kids get into that stuff. I wish it would happen more often.
Yeah,
it's
so cool. I'm like over here like, oh, I'm not gonna cry, but that is such a cool feeling to be like, and I know, I can speak from experience. I know for a fact you are like impacting. So my daughter's 7. And she sat down, we have the Simba card. And because my son won with it, she sat down and was tracing the card and created her own like traced artwork of the card. Like you're having an impact on the next generation of not only Disney fans, but like artists. And I think that's a really cool thing. So I just wanted to let you know that you have a huge impact on the next generation of Disney fans and artists. I think it's really cool. You're really doing a really good job.
Well, and speaking of that, like what advice would you give to young artists or even adults who are dreaming of becoming illustrators or even working with Disney for something as big as Lorcana?
Yeah. The biggest piece of advice I could give anybody is if you want to get good at drawing isn't some magic thing that you're born with. And if you're not born with it, then you can't do it. There are people that are naturally good at it, but most people are good because they just practice. And that's both like, I hope that gives people hope more than it makes people say like, oh, practice. But it really is just the amount of time that you practice. And if you like to practice, then it'll be easy. If you like to draw, just put in more hours into drawing and you'll get good.
I love it. So kind of taking a quick break, and we talked about the parks. We kind of saw some cards that we had signed, but if those of you that are wanting to go to the parks to get cards signed by the man himself, or even some of your favorite princesses or princes, or heck, my favorite is villains. I can't wait to bring some of these cards to Oogie Boogie Bash again this year.
Dude, if we can find Hans and have him sign the Hans card, that's like
We'll send it. We'll get you one, Kendall. That
Yes, please.
My favorite interaction to date. So Kiersti and I'll have to put a picture on the screen too. We dress up. We do the whole nine. Like it's my favorite thing, favorite memory probably ever. Every single year we get to do this. So every year it's different. So one year we went with another friend and we did the 3 fairies from Sleeping Beauty. The next year, it was a good one. We did Lizzie and Isabella from the Lizzie McGuire movie. And having like just grown adults, if you got it, you got it. Some people would ask if like Kiersti was Hannah Montana. But then everyone else would start singing like, hey now, hey. It was so good. But last year we did Vanessa and Ariel. And it, like, I'm telling you, it was like chef's kiss. Kiersti had to sit down for so many autographs of kids. So we're over there. I'm like, you remember, like, you know, like, thank goodness we're Disney moms, and because you have to sign it the right way, right? Like, there's people that go for Disney training for this. But as we were dressed up as this, I had like the full glowing necklace, which I'm recovering from Vanessa taking my voice in allergy season most recently. But we were going through Hades' line. And, you know, most people would know Vanessa as Ursula. Like that's like a little piece of lore that like the average, even Disney fan doesn't really know. Like it's just Ursula. And we had the best interaction with Hades, me and Kiersti, that were like, hey, Vanessa, baby. Like, and she like Kiersti was like, I'm talking about brought out Jennifer Aniston, like straight up acting like she couldn't talk. And oh my gosh, like it was the memory. I'm telling you,
awesome.
It was the best thing I ever had. So talking about parks, Kiersti, where can we buy Lorcana at the parks?
I'm pretty sure you can buy Lorcana at like Elias & Co. You can pretty much get it. World of Disney. I'm thinking Disneyland though, because that's like my home park. But they're starting to sell it at just like kind of like the downtown Disney and Disney Springs areas. They really don't sell it in the main park all that much. But like you can really find it downtown Disney and Disney Springs at the World of Disney stores. And they're usually better stocked if it just released. If it hadn't just released, they get picked over pretty quick.
Yeah. And I think that some select resort gift shops, but yeah, I mean, and if you ask a World of Disney staff member, they usually have it behind the register, and they have had some really fun displays. If you're looking for mats or card sleeves or things, they had a really nice piece there. And I did hear that the Emporium at Magic Kingdom had some, as well as some places in Epcot on occasion. And you and I bought some once in Magic Kingdom in Frontierland somewhere.
On occasion. Yes. That is not that. A lot of people like getting them in the parks because it's like the magic that you get more enchanted in the parks, obviously. So on occasion you can find them in those places.
Yeah. Sweet. So, and if you have really good Disney park cracking pack magic, I need to know, because I have not pulled anything great at Disney.
Enchanteds evade me. I can get the legendaries, but the Enchanteds, they're like, no, you don't get one today. Sorry. So none for me.
So
yeah.
Lightning round. Super fast.
Let's do it.
All right.
Do it. Prepare yourself.
Favorite Disney movie to draw inspiration from?
If it's story, it's Hunchback. If it's art, it's Fantasia. If it's cartoons, it's a Goofy movie.
That was the most elite answer. So beautiful. Yes.
Later I shall tell you how I have unsuccessfully not gotten Kiersti to do the eye-to-eye dance with me, but it is coming. All right. Hero or villain?
If I'm drawing it, I like to draw villains. If I'm being it, I'm more a hero.
There you go.
All right. A dream Lorcana card or character you would love to illustrate?
Chernabog.
Oh, I had that
favorite.
pegged. I had that pegged from the beginning. I was going to ask, like, did you have so much FOMO when you saw Chernabog came out?
Yeah, there's two Chernabog. There's three Chernabog cards out now, and it's like, when am I going to get one?
My turn.
Put an email in. I want the most evil, sinister Disney character with horns, preferably.
Please.
Signed XOXO.
I love
Kendall. Okay. So have you ever been to a Disney park?
Yeah, I've been to Disney World, Disneyland, and Disneyland France.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
I am. So to that point, what is your favorite Disney park snack that you cannot resist? What's your go-to?
Dole Whip floats.
Yes.
Don't even need to think about that one.
My girl's, she's a churro gal, and my kids are shawarma. Shawarma.
Really, shawarma.
Yeah. You go to Avengers Campus, let me just tell you, I didn't think they were going to go for it, and now that's always what they want. So, the shawarma, the breakfast shawarma is good as well. All of the shawarma things. Okay.
No, but Dole Whip float, that is an elite answer. Yes, yes.
It's old school, baby.
Always.
I love it. Kiersti and I have our habit when we go to Disney by ourselves. Like, we check in, we go to Epcot, we go to Mexico. Like, we just have our different spots in all of the places. There is a strategy to this of all the things. Okay, so last one of this lightning round is the most magical Disney moment as an artist.
Most magical moment. So when they were announcing set 2, and there was just a day where they like slowly were leaking the dwarf cards like one by one. And from my end, they didn't tell me that it was that day. They didn't tell me that they were going to do it that way. So all of a sudden I started getting messages like, hey, good job. We just saw the card. Good job. Hey, we just saw this dwarf card. Oh, this one's good. And then people were starting to figure out like, wait a sec. Do these connect? Are these all one big picture? And his things started just blowing up like, oh my gosh, these are so cool. I can't believe you did this. Please tell me, do they all connect? And I was like, I can't say anything until they're all out. But yeah, just watching other people like freaking out about it was so much fun.
Do you have them framed, like where they go together?
I do.
Yes! Say that with pride. They're so cool. I would.
So, well, I don't say with pride yet because it's not hung up. We haven't found a place to put it. But my wife got them framed for me for Christmas, and then she had me sign the frame. So she did that one for me.
That's amazing. I love that.
Sweet. I do love it. Yeah, and I will put the whole continual art up on the screen because it is my favorite. And Kier actually brought it up. Say hi, Chris.
Hi, husband.
Our husbands just got back from playing golf, Kendall.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But so she reminded me of the continual art, and I completely had forgotten about that. And I honestly think I'm gonna get it framed in my office because that's probably one of my favorite. And if you ever get a chance to go to the Epcot Flower Festival, we were just there. That's what it was called, right? Kira Flower Festival, right?
Yep.
They have, this is going to sound so non-Disney verbiage, but really fancy bush flowers of all the dwarves. And it reminded me of the cards. Do you remember?
Topiaries?
There you go.
Topiaries?
Fancy bush flower topiaries. I'll have to send you a picture. I'll put one on the screen too for this. But they had like all the dwarves like in a row and Snow White on the other side. And it reminded me of all of your Dwarf Lorcana cards. It was so cool. So now you have to go and like maybe put your cards in each of the.
Yeah, I don't think the one time that we were at Epcot was just this December, and we kind of sped through Epcot. That was our last day, and we're like, well, we got to see everything. So I don't know if we caught that. I'll have to
it's different times of year. I'll send you. I'll post it in here, and then I'll send you the video. It's super awesome. Awesome, sweet. Kiersti, do you have any last minute questions for Kendall?
No, I thank you so much for coming on here and talking with us. Like, one, getting a little peek behind the curtain, super cool, super magical. But again, I just wanted to just impress upon you, like, love what you're doing, love you. We've met you twice at events, and you've always been so kind and so cool to talk to. This was just a really cool experience, and I just really enjoyed having you here. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your journey and bringing the magic. And also, so for anyone that's listening, if you ever go to a DLC or if you're going to a local game store event like Charlie's CCS, so Charlie's Collector Showcase. I'm going to get the Collectible Showcase. I should have a little bit more sponsored by Dr. Pepper in my life. But oftentimes you can find artists just like Kendall that are there. So make sure you check it out because I feel like DLCs, so Disney Lorcana challenges, which they're going to be announcing here soon, what's coming up the next year. I find the artists are just as much as fun, like seeing the environment than playing. Like I love playing, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to side events or even if you're competing, make sure you save time to go check everybody out, because that's probably, I think, the coolest memories that we have is not just playing the game, but the things we're able to bring home that are like such cool memories of the game and truly like what's going on behind the ink. And the whole point of this podcast is to just really share the Disney love and all the things that this isn't just a card game, that there's so much to it. And thank you so much, Kendall, for taking the time to share some of that with us. I know that I will be re-listening to see if I can like glean any more little secrets that you might have dropped out there. But yeah, man, we're so honored to celebrate your talent with our listeners. And I hope to see this Hidden Mickey coming out soon and all of the cards that you have coming out in the future.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, for sure. And Kiersti, thank you for jumping on. I really appreciate it. Kind of talking about enjoying the parks and hopefully getting Kendall to go back to Epcot. She's trying to convert me to an Epcot gal. I'm working on it.
That's elite, man.
Ugh. I know, I'm working on it. But Kiersti, you have done a really great job of teaching people how to really beat the Disney dining plan and be able to do Disney on a dime. Can you give us a little bit of information on that and where our listeners can check that out so they can enjoy Disney on a budget? Because Disney doesn't have to break the bank. You can make a lot of memories and still have a great time and do everything. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to find more information about it, I have like a whole website post and I've got a whole on TikTok and Instagram called Disney on a Dime, Beat the Disney Dining Plan. But I would take like my main 3 points would be make a priority list, the things that you want to get done so that you're not spending money on things that aren't a priority to you. Second thing is make sure that you're using discounted Disney gift cards to buy everything, whether it's Lorcana cards at Downtown Disney or your hotel room. Using discounted Disney gift cards is going to save you a crap ton of money. And I think the third thing is just making sure that you're going with the anticipation that you're going to try to save money. So like packing a suitcase full of snacks, not being tempted by all of the pricey souvenirs in the park, like being strategic with your planning and your packing is going to save you a whole bunch of money at the end.
Yeah, and if you're looking at going this summer, make sure you're checking out her website, torokcouponhunter.com/Disney, because Disney has been announcing some really, really great deals, especially for families. I think it's adult tickets for $89 a day, which is insane. And kids, I think, are half off. Not to mention, I think they're bringing back free dining. I mean, so if you've never been to Disney, now's the time. If you've been to Disney, there are never too many trips to Disney. Well, let me just tell you. So make sure you check that out. And while you're there, stop by Disney Springs or your local store and get some Lorcana cards and make sure to share all of your pack openings with us. But thank you so much again. Make sure you don't forget to follow, like, and share this episode. And also go over to Kendall and Kiersti's channels and like and follow them, because I'm sure Kendall has a lot more that he's going to be sharing with us for upcoming sets as they're kind of getting announced. So we have Reign of Jafar coming up, and I have seen some wonderful cards from you, Kendall. I'm super excited. There's some good ones. So thanks again for joining us, and we can't wait to see you next time.